Okay, and this is sewing our single-ended darts. And when we talk about a single-ended dart, it means we have one dart point and it comes from a seam line. Double-ended darts would have two dart points, and we'll see that in another video. You have a sample piece. It is a 9 inches by 6 inches, and it will already have some markings for your dart ends or the legs of the dart, and then the point where you want to come up to stitching to. I had to mark these with black pen so that the marking stayed during the time difference between you getting your kit, but normally you would not want to use ink. Use your marking tools, either your chalk or your pen that you can erase. Always test your marking tools on scrap fabric. Right here I am just clipping not more than 1/4 of an inch each of my dart legs. That way it is easier when I start to fold my fabric to match from the back edge of the fabric. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to see my markings. Now this sample will allow you to do 2 separate darts for practice. And the idea here is that you would have a stitch line that would go from this dart leg down to that point, and then the back edge of that stitch line will be in line from that dart leg again to that point. And the way to get this set up is fold on your dart point and up to matching your dart legs. This is where the little clip edges come in handy, because you can line those clips up. I lay that back down and I go ahead and usually put one pin in the direction of my dart leg, and then, since my dart point's right on my fold and sometimes hard to see, I like to put a pin this direction so I know the point I'm aiming for. And I start my darts up here at this point, stitch down towards this point, and actually stitch off the fabric 1 or 2 stitches. Remove it from underneath the presser foot, come back, and insert the needle back here in the dart excess, and then do my back stitch. It eliminates any bulk that could build up at that dart point. If my fabric's thicker, I can go ahead and do it back stitch there, but normally I just don't do that. Alright, make sure your machine is set with stitch length at A, so your needle is in the center. Stitch selector position A, stitch length 2.5. So right here I want my needle to just be on the outer side of my notches. And if you need to be able to kind of eyeball where you're going, pull your thread tails down this direction as you get ready to sew. You can see that that's the imaginary line or stitch line that you want to follow. And once you start, backstitch at the back end of the dart. That will be in a seam line. And then as I near my point here, I do want to remove my pin so I don't stitch over it, but I'm aiming for that spot where I removed my pin from, and I come out past the edge of my fabric, just as a stitch or two. Pull to release some of the thread, and then I'm going back into my dart excess to actually set my back stitch. That way, again, that bulk is not at my dart point. And there you have it. I stitched off the edge, pulled my threads back here, and inserted the needle and back stitched in that dart excess. So there it is. You can practice with your other one. And then the last step is the pressing of that dart. Let's go over here. And when you press to set your stitches, don't press past the dart point. You don't want to set a crease out here in the garment area. Now then, you would always fold your dart excess either towards the hem of the garment or typically towards center front or center back, whichever piece you're working with. And as you come down here to the dart point again, you want to work with the tip of the iron and slowly stretching to release, but without distorting the fabric. Okay, this is where a pressing hand comes in handy to get around this curve. You do not want to press any crease past your stitching point. But that is how a dart should release at the end, nice and smooth, without any puckers or extra fold over creases. So again, practice a second one with your other dart and take a photograph of both sides, this side and this side of your sample.